Good afternoon. I guess you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? Hello? Elvira? Okay, great. Well, that introduction, I guess, does tell a lot about myself. And I just wanted to, I guess, welcome everyone to the empowerment ceremony service that you guys are having. Now, I'm sorry I can't be there, but I just wanted everyone to know that, with having a strong, I don't want to say hard, but I guess a strong work ethic makes you extra in love with your job. Because if you can't, I always tell myself, if I can't just go ahead, if I can't get up at any time of the day, be it midnight, 4 in the morning, 9 in the morning, or 9 at night, then I'm not enjoying myself at work. But I try to always put myself in a position where it's fun to go to work and it's a place that I want to be. Therefore, then you're going to have a work ethic that you're willing to work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. I know that sounds crazy, but when you're working hard and trying to get things done, that's the true sign of success. I mean, you never want to just like make yourself so that you're so exhausted, but you always want to put your best foot forward so that when people say your name, it leaves a good taste, with them or on their tongue, for lack of better words. But as far as being a woman in the entertainment field is very hard because this is a male dominated field and there's no room to slip up because they'll be like, oh, she's a girl, she can't do this. And that's not really what it is. It's, you're a woman and you always have to be strong and stay on top of things. I don't know exactly what the true formula is for success. I can only tell you the road to success, my road that has been paved for me by plenty of mentors, from George Michael Sports Machine to Steve Harvey to you name it. There are tons of different people that are, that are in a place where they can set a road plan for you so that you can continue to grow. I've started, just like with Elvira, she's, pulling all of us women together so that we can empower ourselves. There's a few women out here in this industry that you'll find that will become, I would say, your sister, because everyone's not your friend. I look to Elvira as my sister because we've gone through the trenches and a lot of things together, and we've created a lot of platforms for other people to stand on. And so therefore, it just makes you want to, it makes you want to be bigger, and not bigger in a sense that you just are overpowering and you are untouchable, but it makes you want to be bigger in the sense that when you go to do something in your field, that you're very strong and you dominate it and you become that expert in that field versus someone else saying, oh, we can get whoever. You don't ever want that. You want them to get you and not, somebody else. I don't know exactly where I could say the road started to turn for me to grow to become the successful woman that I am, but I do know that I still am growing as I would say as an executive producer in this industry. It's still, you learn something new every day, and you should never let anyone not, stand in your way or not let you grow. Because if you're not learning, then it's not worth it. I have to look and see. Sorry. How to switch to negative wording. I would have to say what's been presented to me is how to switch negative work situation into a positive work situation. Basically, just right there, that tells you that if you're not happy in that situation, You have to create a workspace that works for you so that you can continue to be like, oh, I got it. I'm not just here to be the flunky, for lack of better words, but you're there because you are the expert in that situation. For me, it's production. I can walk into a room and turn it into a live situation at any time, especially given technology that we have now, where you can just be like, I only need 4 cameras and 12 lights and some power, and let's go. And you can turn your laptop into your docking station. Well, your docking station, basically, where you can send everything out, and there you have a show. A lot of people still don't have the forward thinking thought process of how to do things. When they just walk into an empty room, they get intimidated by that empty room. Whereas I walk into an empty room and it's like a blank canvas for me, and I can just go, and it's not even a problem of what, I have to do or not do, or what's, you can't let any hurdles get in your way. And if it's a hurdle, you got to figure out how to go through it. You never want to go over it. You want to go through it, because you got to clear that path for the next person. And I've always been taught that, when someone does something good for you, you always want to give them a gift. Well, instead of giving them a gift, sometimes that your gift could be helping the next person up. And you always want to pull people up just so that there's someone to leave your legacy with. You never want to, just go and not have anything left behind, because then what? Then your work was done in vain. You want to, work towards the positive, so that when you do move on to the next thing, be like, oh, you know what, she did a really good job by doing X, Y, and Z. Let's do it her way. And then you start to build your own type of, lack of a better word, platform forward. Hold on, they gave me a... What happens if you upset a business relationship? How can you save it? If you've upset a business relationship, 9 times out of 10, that business relationship was upset because someone felt intimidated by you. It may not be that you did something wrong. It's basically you did something so right that you have to prove yourself. And every day is you prove yourself to be the better person or the better one. And if someone is intimidated by you and tries to throw salt on your name, or say that you're not who you say you are, if they're saying that you're an imposter or something like that, then you always have to turn it around. Or you have to turn it around, not attempt to turn it around, but you turn it around so that you can be like, you know what, this is how we're going to do this. And then you walk people through different steps so they can see, because sometimes people try to get from A to D without doing B and C, and that's impossible. There is, there's a process to everything and everyone. You can't just say, we're going to do it this way and this is why. You can't say we're going to do it this way without saying this is why. And you always want to be able to have the this is why to a point, or ironed out, so that when you show someone, then they see your vision. Because when you start blocking people's visions and trying to tear down their thought process without showing them another way, that's when you can start to ruin relationships. But you're not really ruining relationships, because you know what you're doing. You're trying to teach somebody else what they have to do or what they should do. And I think that, that would tell you how to bridge the gap between someone who's trying to turn a positive situation into a negative situation. Otherwise, you never have the know-how to go forward. So you always have to, and you triple check your facts. Like whenever I go to do something, I'm like, oh, let me go check that. Because even though I know it may be right, it's always good to have reassurance on a back end. And you just never know where you want to where that negative relationship could go. So you always want to fix, if it's a problem, you want to fix it right away. You don't want things to fester, because when they fester, that's how rumors get started. That's how people start blackballing you in this industry. And it's not enough women in this industry, I wouldn't say in the entertainment industry, that they can even afford to, you know, be blackballed or belittled or just periodly talk bad about, because that's when it's harder to clean it up. So it's always better to clean up a negative situation when it happens. Don't let it carry over. And as far as me, like I said, my road has been paved by many people that I would have to say, you know, have taken me under their wing to help me to grow and to continue to grow. And now in this digital space, trying to not reinvent the wheel, but take things and just find a way to, like, okay, I can do X, Y, and Z if I just take an extra step. And there are different things that we do in television now that a lot of people were like, oh, whereas we were just talking about this the other day, you don't have to have a camera crew that comes out, you know, 10 people and the bill is $100,000. Now with the technology, you can take a 2-man camera crew and do an hour-long show. And people are trying to figure out how you did it, and you're doing everything basically from your iPad these days. And you've got 2 cameras. And so you have to look at it like, how can I reinvent the wheel? Whereas, you know, you don't have to take over, or it's not reinventing the wheel to take over. You're just trying to control the situation. And there are a lot of different ways to control the situation so that you're not just like, you're not looked at as, I'm the boss and I've got to figure out how to make people, you know, like me whether they want to or not, you know? Sorry, it's my 9-month-old. He's just waking up. Lunch time is coming. It says, how do you get a mentor in this business? How I got my mentor, believe it or not, was working and seeing where I wanted to go, or seeing what I wanted to do by making a plan and or creating a plan so that it's, you know, so that it works for me. You have to start. My mentor now is a woman who I've watched as I've grown up, and she's a philanthropist, she's a minister, she's an engineer. It's someone totally outside of the box from what I'm doing, but I've watched her growth of how she's grown in the industry, because she's in engineering and she's a woman. And so it takes things to a whole nother level. When she walks in, people are almost scared of her. They almost stand at attention when she walks in, like, oh my God, Michelle, you know, and they just like, she's here, she's here. But at the end of the day, she knows, you know how you just know your stuff and you're like, how do I get to be, I didn't want to be like her, but how do I get to that point where I'm respected in my industry? And she always told me, she was like, you have to know your business inside and out. You have to know how to basically turn something. In her industry, she's built up cities and she's built up convention centers and she's built up, I say the world, but it's really not the world, but she's built up things so that you're like, how and where did you know how to do that? But the thing is that you have to know your industry inside and out, backwards and forwards, to the point if someone calls you, and like for me, for instance, someone calls me like, we have one camera down and we have one host and we go live in 6 minutes. I just basically need to know what the topic is and how we're going to do it and what I can put in there as fillers to help along with what is going on for the situation and, you know, for the show. And then make so that no one in what I call TV land our viewers know this when something is going wrong, because when the audience sees something's going wrong, then it all falls apart. You never want to see them see you sweat, basically, is what I've always been told. And you can be wiping your brow, but as long as nobody sees you do it, then you're a success. And then you have to figure out how to if you can figure out how to you have to take control of a situation by sometimes making people think it's their idea. And that does sound a little sneaky, like going in through the back door to get to the front. But nobody ever wants to be like, no one ever wants to, not have control of a situation. And so when you walk into a crisis situation, like for me, I could walk in and they're like, our host is late. Okay, well, this is how we're going to make it work. Either I call my host on the phone and I'm like, you have to go live via phone, via FaceTime, via Skype, via Tango, via Ustream, any of these different apps that we have that I can take to air, and then I can clean it up and no one is ever the wiser. And in radio, you can cheat a lot. You can have can you dial in from your car or dial in from where you are? And then I try to plan it so that when they get to where they are, because talent is late sometimes. They just don't respect the clock. I don't know what happens. They don't. And you got to figure out, when we go to commercial, you're going to run up to this set. And then you fix it. And no one's ever the wiser. No one has missed a beat. No one has lost their way. The audience doesn't know. And you still have an awesome show with great ratings and everybody's happy. Have I ever been discouraged because I'm a woman in this business, and how did I get over it? Sometimes I've wished I was a boy, just because when you walk into a room and they see a girl and they're like, she doesn't know what she's doing. She can't do this. She can't do that. And as soon as you go in there and you start, talking the TV talk or talking the radio talk, and people start to be like, oh, well, maybe she does. And maybe she can handle this and take care of everything and be great. And the only discouraging part is when you have what everyone says, haters. And you know what? The saying is correct. Haters are your motivators, because you're always out to prove yourself. And as soon as you can prove yourself and set the stage straight and, what I call walk on the wild side, it's like you don't even realize that something has gone wrong, but you know that they doubted you until you either A, opened your mouth, or B, had that first word or that first shot go across the air, and then they're just like, they look at you side-eye, and you just got to be like, hi, because you know that you have the will or the power or the know-how to do it. And even though you may feel discouraged, I always say, I look deep inside, because I gotta figure out who can, if I can't do it, then who else is gonna do it? And I don't want somebody else to do it without me not giving it the old college try. So you always, I always tell people, let me give you 150%, because just that 100% being a woman sometimes isn't enough, and you got to do above and beyond. Like, you got to give them what they call I don't know if everyone's remember, but when the lights kind of bally on stage, you got to almost make them go faster, or more colors and more explosions and more, and you got to make radio. You have to have like the biggest guest on your shows at the time, and you always just have to do above and beyond. So people be like, where did that come from? You always want to surprise people, because then it's like it's a fair playing game, and everybody is just, man, I hate to say it, it's, even though TV and radio for me is a male-dominated field, and how did I break down the doors? I broke down the doors by never letting anyone tell me no. When they tell me no, then I go try to figure out, okay, well, you said no, I couldn't do X, Y, and Z, but you didn't say no, I couldn't do A, B, C. And so here's how it's going to work. And then people will be like, oh, yeah. Okay, well, that worked. So then you become like on their playing field, and then it just becomes a fair game. So I hope I've answered, everyone's questions and everything to the best of my ability and knowledge. And my son is joining in too. I do apologize. But I guess at the end of the day, am I satisfied in the career path that I chose? Yes. Is it the original career path I chose when I started out in undergrad? No. I was going to be an orthopedic surgeon. Instead, I went into sports media, and I got kidnapped into entertainment. Go figure. But it's one of those things where, am I pleased with what I'm doing? Yes. Am I happy every morning when my alarm goes off at 3:45 in the morning? Yes. It's a blessing to get up, go to work, and be happy at the job. You never want the alarm to go off and you be like, I don't want to. When that alarm goes off, I'm like, all right, let's go. It's time to make these donuts. We got to go. And it's never a dull moment. Is it a lot of work? Yes. Does it ever stop? No. Would I change anything? No. I'm extremely happy with what I've chosen, or I should say what has chosen me, because this wasn't my original plan. So I'm happy and looking to do more and take over the world more and do bigger and better shows, especially in this digital space that we have now, because that's opening up a whole nother revenue door, and everyone likes revenue. So I'm having fun, to say the least. Okay, I think I've answered everyone's question that was emailed and or text to me.